Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. I'm your host, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into some seriously cool tech news that has the internet buzzing. You know, the kind of stuff that makes you think, are we living in a sci-fi movie or what?
It's been a wild week in tech, that's for sure.
It really has. So you sent me a ton of articles about Elon Musk's XAI and their new Grok 3 AI chatbot, plus a bunch on this explosion in robotics companies. And I have to say, just reading the headlines made my head spin a little.
I can imagine. It seems like every few months the tech world leaps forward another decade. But don't worry, that's why we're here, to unpack it all and figure out what it really means for you.
Okay, so let's start with this Grok 3 thing. XAI launched it just a few days ago on February 17, and already it's causing a major stir. Apparently Musk's big goal for XAI and Grok is to understand the universe. I mean, that's quite the ambition, isn't it?
It is indeed, but if you look at it from a computational perspective, it makes a certain kind of sense. Understanding the universe at its core is about processing information and recognizing patterns. That's something AI, with its vast data crunching capabilities, is potentially very good at.
Okay, that's a good point. But how does Grok 3 actually different from other AI chatbots out there? We've already got ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and a whole bunch of others. What makes Grok so special?
What sets Grok apart is its direct integration with X, formerly known as Twitter. That means it has real-time access to the flood of information flowing through the platform, news, conversations, trends, you name it.
So it's like having a chatbot that's constantly plugged into the global conversation. That's got to give it some unique insights. What kind of implications could that have for us?
Well, think about it. Grok could tailor its responses based on what's trending right now, or even offer real-time analysis of events as they unfold. It's like having a super-informed commentator who's always up to date. That could potentially give it a huge edge over competitors that rely on static data sets.
That's wild. It also makes you wonder about the potential impact on X users themselves. I mean, imagine having this incredibly smart AI participating in discussions and shaping the narrative online. That's a little scary.
It certainly raises some interesting questions about the future of online discourse and how AI might influence it. But let's dive a little deeper into Grok 3 itself. There are actually different versions available: Grok 3 Mini, Grok 3 Reasoning, each with different levels of speed and accuracy.
Oh, that's right. I read about that. What's the deal with this reasoning capability? Is that what makes it more than just a fancy question-answering machine?
Exactly. Reasoning means Grok 3 isn't just retrieving information, it's processing and analyzing it to form conclusions. It can understand relationships between concepts, make logical inferences, and even generate creative solutions. It's a big step towards AI that can truly think for itself.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing. But I have to admit, all this talk about AI understanding things makes me wonder, how much computing power does it actually take to train something like Grok 3?
Well, get this. They used a staggering 200,000 GPUs to train Grok 3 in a massive data center in Memphis. To put that in perspective, that's more computing power than most countries have access to.
200,000 GPUs? That's insane. No wonder they're calling this thing a game changer.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. NVIDIA, the company that makes these GPUs, is seeing its compute power double every 10 months. That means in less than a year, they'll produce more power than all the GPUs they've ever made combined.
Hold on, double every 10 months. That's an exponential leap. What does that even mean for the future of AI like Grok 3?
It means the capabilities of AI are going to skyrocket. Imagine what Grok 4 or Grok 5 will be able to do with that kind of computational firepower behind it. It's both exciting and a little bit intimidating, isn't it?
Definitely. So we've got this incredibly powerful AI learning from the real world through X, potentially capable of understanding the universe. What could possibly be next?
Well, if we shift gears from the digital to the physical world, we see another fascinating trend emerging: the rise of robots.
Robots, all right. I was hoping we'd get to them. This is where things start to feel really futuristic, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just hype. Investors are pouring serious money into robotics companies. Take Figure AI, for example. They're the folks behind those humanoid robots we were talking about earlier. They're reportedly in talks to raise $1.5 billion in funding, which would value the company at a whopping $39 billion. That's a huge jump in just a few months.
39 billion. That's a lot of zeros. So what are they doing that's so special? Building a robot army to take over the world?
Not quite, though. I'm sure some science fiction fans wouldn't mind that. What's interesting about Figure AI is that they're not just building prototypes, they're already generating revenue. They're selling robots to companies like BMW to work in their factories.
So real robots doing real jobs and making real money. This is starting to feel less like science fiction and more like, well, reality.
It certainly is. And Figure AI is just one player in a rapidly expanding field. Atronic, another robotics company, recently raised $350 million for their Apollo robot, designed specifically for warehouse work. Even Meta, known primarily for its social media platforms, has formed a robotics team. And let's not forget, Apple, always shrouded in secrecy, is also reportedly working on robot designs.
So robots are popping up everywhere. This makes Elon Musk's prediction about humanoid robots leading to quasi-infinite products and services seem less outlandish, doesn't it? He even suggested robots could make money meaningless. I'm not sure I buy that part, but it's certainly a bold statement.
Musk is known for his bold statements, that's for sure. But he might be onto something with the potential of robots to revolutionize how we live and work.
Okay, so we have all these different companies jumping into the robot game. What are their approaches? How are they different?
That's a great question, and it's where things get really interesting. Figure AI, as we mentioned, is taking a full-stack approach, developing both the hardware and software for their robots. They envision robots not just in factories, but eventually in homes, assisting with everyday tasks. Atronic, on the other hand, is more focused on the industrial applications of robots, particularly in warehouses and logistics. Meta's strategy seems to be developing a kind of operating system for robots, much like Android for smartphones, enabling other companies to build upon their platform.
It's like a robotic arms race with each company trying to outdo the other with innovative designs and capabilities. It's exciting and a little bit daunting, to be honest.
It is indeed a time of rapid change and innovation. We have Grok 3 designed to understand the universe, and we have robots toys to become an increasingly integral part of that universe. It's a fascinating convergence of cutting-edge technologies, and it's happening right before our eyes.
That's a really interesting way to put it. It's like we're on the cusp of something truly transformative, and both Grok 3 and these advanced robots are key players in this unfolding story.
Exactly. And that brings us to a crucial question. If Grok 3's mission is to understanding universe, will it eventually need to understand robots? After all, if robots become as ubiquitous as smartphones, wouldn't they be a crucial part of the universe that Grok 3 is trying to comprehend?
Whoa, that's a really thought-provoking question. If Grok needs to understand robots, what does that mean for the relationship between AI and robotics?
Well, that's something we'll have to explore further in our next segment. We'll be back after a short break to delve deeper into the implications of these advancements and what they mean for you. Stay tuned.
All right, so before we went to break, we were talking about how both Grok 3 and this new wave of robots are poised to change the world as we know it. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It really is. I mean, just think about the implications like an AI like Grok 3 trying to understand robots. If robots become a major part of our lives, wouldn't Grok need to understand their behavior, their capabilities, their limitations, even their potential motivations?
That's a really interesting point. I mean, if Grok 3's mission is to understand the universe, wouldn't that include understanding how robots fit into that universe, how they interact with humans, how they impact society?
Exactly. And that raises a whole bunch of other questions. For example, how do you teach an AI about the complexities of human-robot interaction? How do you ensure that Grok 3 doesn't develop biases or misconceptions about robots based on the information it's fed?
Right, because just like any AI, Grok 3 is only as good as the data it's trained on. If it's trained on biased data, it could potentially develop its own biases about robots, which could then influence how it interacts with them, or even how it portrays them to humans.
Precisely. And that's why this whole idea of Grok 3 understanding robots is so fascinating and potentially challenging. It's not just about crunching numbers or analyzing code. It's about understanding the nuances of a complex relationship between two very different forms of intelligence, artificial and, well, robotic.
So it's like a whole new level of AI development. It's not just about building smart machines, it's about building machines that can understand other machines.
Exactly. And that leads us to another fascinating question. Could Grok 3's understanding of robots actually help us develop better, safer, more beneficial robots?
Well, that's a good one. You're saying that Grok 3 could actually be a tool for robot development.
Think of it this way. If Grok 3 can analyze vast amounts of data about robots, it could potentially identify patterns and insights that human developers might miss. It could help us understand how different robot designs perform in different environments, how they interact with humans, how they learn and adapt.
So Grok 3 could be like a superpowered research assistant for robotics engineers.
In a way, yes. It could help us identify potential problems before they occur, optimize robot designs for specific tasks, even personalize robots to individual users' needs and preferences.
That's amazing. It's like Grok 3 could help us unlock the full potential of robotics. But what about the flip side? What if Grok 3 starts to see robots as competition or even as a threat?
That's a valid concern. It's something we need to be mindful of as we develop increasingly sophisticated AI systems. It's important to ensure that AI, like Grok 3, is aligned with human values and goals, that it understands the importance of human-robot collaboration, and that it doesn't develop any sort of adversarial relationship with robots.
Right, because the last thing we need is an AI battling it out with robots for world domination.
Exactly. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right now, we're still in the early stages of both AI and robotics development. The key is to proceed thoughtfully, ethically, and with a focus on the long-term well-being of humanity.
I agree. We need to make sure we're using these powerful technologies to create a better future, not a dystopian sci-fi nightmare.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to those companies that you were talking about earlier, Figure AI, Atronic, Meta, Apple. They're all racing to develop the next generation of robots, and their success or failure will depend on how well they address these complex issues of safety ethics and human-robot interaction.
Okay, so let's dive a bit deeper into these companies and their approaches. You mentioned that Figure AI is taking a full-stack approach. What does that actually mean?
Full stack means they're developing both the hardware and software for their robots. They're not just building the physical body of the robot, they're also creating the brains that power it, the algorithms that allow it to learn and adapt, and the interfaces that allow humans to interact with it.
So they're basically creating a complete integrated system from the ground up.
Exactly. And that gives them a lot of control over how their robots function and how they interact with the world. It also allows them to iterate quickly and adapt to new challenges and opportunities.
That makes sense. So what about Aptronic? They're focused on warehouse robots, right?
That's right. Their Apollo robot is designed specifically for tasks like picking, packing, and transporting goods in warehouse environments. It's a rapidly growing market, and Atronic is well positioned to capitalize on it.
Why are warehouses such a hotbed for robot development?
Well, think about it. Warehouses are typically large, structured environments with repetitive tasks. That makes them ideal for automation. Robots can work tirelessly, they don't get tired or make mistakes, and they can operate in environments that might be hazardous or uncomfortable for humans.
That's a good point. So robots are basically taking over the jobs that nobody wants to do.
It's not quite that simple. While it's true that robots can handle some of the more mundane and physically demanding tasks, they can also create new jobs in areas like robot maintenance programming and design.
So it's more about a shift in the workforce rather than a complete replacement of human workers.
Exactly. And as robots become more sophisticated, they'll likely work alongside humans in collaborative environments, each contributing their unique strengths and capabilities.
That's an interesting point. It's not about robots versus humans. It's about robots and humans working together to achieve common goals.
Precisely, and that's where companies like Meta come in. They're not building robots themselves, but they're developing a kind of operating system for robots, much like Android for smartphones. This could make it easier for other companies to build and deploy robots, potentially accelerating the adoption of robotics across a wide range of industries.
So Meta is trying to be the Android of the robot world. That's pretty ambitious.
It is, and it could have a significant impact on the robotics landscape. Imagine a world where robots are as easy to use and customize as smartphones.
That's a wild thought. So we've got companies building robots, companies building the software for robots, and then we have Apple well, Apple always doing their own thing. What are they up to in the robotics world?
Apple, as always, is keeping their cards close to their chest, but rumors suggest they're working on both humanoid and non-humanoid robots, possibly with an emphasis on integration with their existing ecosystem of devices.
So imagine a robot that seamlessly integrates with your iPhone, your Apple Watch, your AirPods, your entire Apple universe. That's either really cool or really creepy, depending on your perspective.
I think it's safe to say that Apple's entry into the robotics market will be closely watched by everyone. They have a knack for creating products that are both innovative and user-friendly, so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the mind-boggling potential of Grok 3 to the exciting and sometimes unnerving advancements in robotics.
It's a lot to process, isn't it?
It is, and we're not even done yet. We'll be back after a short break to wrap up our deep dive and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder. Stay with us. Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, exploring the incredible world of Grok 3 and the rise of robots.
It's been quite a journey from AI that aims to understand the universe to robots working in factories, warehouses, and maybe even our homes someday.
You know, before we started this deep dive, I thought I had a decent grasp of what was happening in the tech world. But honestly, I feel like I've just scratched the surface. There's so much happening so fast, it's both exhilarating and a little overwhelming.
I understand exactly what you mean. It's a constant wave of innovation, and it can be hard to keep up. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? There's always something new to discover, something new to learn.
Absolutely. So as we reach the end of our deep dive, What are the big takeaways? What should our listeners be paying attention to in this rapidly changing tech landscape?
Well, first and foremost, the integration of AI with real-time information sources like we see with Grok 3 and X is a game changer. It gives AI access to a constant stream of current events, conversations, and trends, allowing it to process and analyze information in ways that were previously unimaginable.
It's like having a super-powered research assistant constantly scanning the world and delivering insights directly to you. Imagine the possibilities for everything from personalized news feeds to real-time market analysis.
Exactly. And beyond the immediate applications, this type of AI integration raises some fascinating questions about the future of information. How will AI shape our understanding of the world? What are the implications for privacy and security? How do we ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically?
Those are really important questions that we need to be thinking about as we move forward. But it's not just about the digital world, right? Robotics is also poised to have a major impact on our lives.
Absolutely. The advancements we've seen in robotics, particularly in humanoid robots, suggest a future where robots become increasingly integrated into our everyday lives. Imagine robots assisting us with tasks, providing companionship, or even working alongside us in collaborative environments.
It's a future that's both exciting and a little daunting. On the one hand, it's incredible to think about all the ways robots could improve our lives. On the other hand, it raises questions about the role of humans in a world where machines are becoming increasingly capable.
You hit the nail on the head. It's crucial that we approach these advancements thoughtfully, ethically, and with a focus on the long-term well-being of humanity. We need to ensure that robots are designed and used in ways that benefit society as a whole.
I couldn't agree more. And that brings us back to one of the most thought-provoking questions we've explored in this deep dive. If Grok 3's mission is to understand the universe, will it eventually need to understand robots?
It's a question that highlights the fascinating intersection of AI and robotics. If robots become a ubiquitous part of our world, wouldn't they be a crucial part of the universe that Grok 3 is trying to comprehend?
It's like a feedback loop of innovation, with each advancement in one field driving progress in the other. The possibilities are truly mind-boggling.
And it's a future that we as informed citizens and curious minds have a responsibility to engage with and help shape. We need to stay informed, ask critical questions, and be active participants in the conversation about how these technologies are developed and deployed.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. We've explored the incredible potential of Grok 3, the rapid advancements in robotics, and the fascinating questions they raise about the future of technology and our place in it.
It's been an incredible journey of exploration, and I hope our listeners have enjoyed it as much as we have.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.